she ran back and called Peter and John. Those two people ran to the tomb and removed the stone, and when they went inside, the only thing they saw was the piece of cloth that Jesus was wrapped. They did not see Jesus. Over many years in the church, they came to discover this cloth, and that is what is called the shroud, the cloth that was covering Jesus. Why do we call it Shroud of Turin? Turin is a city in Italy. It would be like saying Chicago, okay? So the shroud actually started in Jerusalem, where Jesus lived and died. But over the years, it was transferred from one city to another. Because the head of the Catholic Church is in Italy, Turin is in Italy, so they transferred it to preserve it in Turin, and that is why we call it Shroud of Turin.
Okay, you're at today at St. Patrick's, right? And they've got the exhibit of this holy shroud behind us. And the Good Father was just here, and he was demonstrating to all the students, right? So they could see this notion of a cylinder-type wrap in which Jesus was basically wrapped in the cloth, right, before putting in the tomb. And then the rock would be placed over there. So lots of good questions from the students, right? What about the triangle and things like where would the feet be in the head. So it's definitely an excellent exhibit and something to learn and study. Okay, it's a cold day outside here, but inside the kids are really learning a whole lot about the shroud, right? And here at St. Patrick's, the guys are putting up shingles, kind of creating a new roof. And I look over this way, and we're seeing something interesting in relationship to this ramp or wedge ascension. And that is right over in this area by the wheat. It appears as if there's steam, steam as if a stem cell remembrance is coming from the grainage. Breath. Okay, here we're going to take a good look at this holy shroud, and it's really a miracle, right? A miracle of Messiah. Even the word Messiah in linguistics. And what we're seeing here is a unique array with two parallel lines, right? As if this is a type of Ark of the Covenant in which Jesus is carried in such a way to the tomb, right? And, in many ways, it's like a banner with writing on it, too, or perhaps even a sail on a mighty vessel. And, if you look at the blood of Jesus as if it was wine, there's a certain parable in John to be talked about. And it's interesting, because if we take this array and we see how it, isolates up and down, it undulates, right, in this pattern, let's say like a 2 or a 5, it is a signature. It's the signature from water to wine, yielding a final message of the Lord himself. So definitely something amazing to think about here. We could even take a look and see some various apparitions, angels being formed at these points, right? So it's very unique. Certainly a privilege to see. Okay, here in the basement, they actually have a representation for everyone to see. And what's interesting is based on the linen dimensions, right? We can derive a notation of like a cloth, right? CF and then a half, right? Designating, you know, Jesus parting his beard and how an organism, you know, kind of mimics itself on each side. And what's interesting is when we're sanding the stars, like in the poster guideline. Okay, we could just hear the room, with, you know, full of voices here today at St. Patrick's because of the exhibit. So the kids are very excited to be learning, right, about sacred artifacts. And, you know, so we looked around and we found some unique things from our perspective. And we were talking about the Southern Crux. So right here, at this location in the library, is something, a constellation called the Musca, which is like a upside down triangle or a shield, and then a cross laying horizontal. I'd say if we turned this T in Patrick, it would actually be a perfect alignment right now. So the remembrance is always there in the constellations, as well as all forms of documentation and archiving.